Evening, everyone. It's Tuesday evening at just short of 5:30, and this is your closing comment for Tuesday, the 5th of March, and it is video number 1219. So we had a bunch of very tough market hours here. Um, Stocks were down hard. The sell-off really started after the most dovish of the Fed bosses, Lyle Brainerd, came out with very hawkish comments about the need to raise rates and talking about maybe one or even two 50-point raises in the very short term. And so the big damage actually was done. It's kind of surprising. The big damage looked like it was done, most people would say, looking at the NASDAQ, which was up 1.9% yesterday, down over 328, down 2.26. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Worse than that were the Russell, down 49.40, down 2.36%. And that wasn't the worst of it. The transports, which got pounded the end of last week, were down 435.46 today, 2.81%. That was the biggest loser. The best of the worst was the Dow, down just 280 or 0.8%, and the S&P down 57.52. That was down 1.26%. Advanced declines were soft. I mentioned this today because I mentioned it yesterday and said that yesterday's rally was really unimpressive on the internals. Volume being down, advanced declines being down. Well, they got worse again today. On the NYSE, it was 4-1 to the downside and 5-2 on the downside in the NASDAQ. Volume was just slightly higher, 4.6 billion versus 4.5 yesterday. And those numbers are about 12 or 15% below average daily volume. The VIX closed 2103, up 246. That is nowhere near a spike, and this 21 is still reasonably complacent as historically looked at over the past year or two. On the upside, though, we had Spirit Airlines, SAVE. They stopped trading in it. JETBLUE came out with a $33 all cash bid for the company. That's $3.6 billion. The fly in the ointment here is that Frontier came out and bid $2.9 billion for it in February, and I believe that that was accepted by Spirit. So they said that they are looking at the deal. They will do their due diligence. They haven't unwound the Frontier deal, but this could turn into kind of a bidding war. Either Frontier would have to pay up above the 33. I mean, the difference between 2.9 and 3.6 is substantial if they have to raise it further to get it. In any event, Spirit was trading 26.92, up $4.93, and the all-time high is like $80, and in late trading it was as high as 29 today. In after hours, it was 27 and a quarter, up 526 or 24%. Another one that I mentioned to you this morning, SBFM. This is the biotech company that I mentioned is using mRNA building blocks for cancer drugs. This morning it was about $6, up about 3.5. Up about 170%. The high during the day was 680. The last is 561, up $3.35 or 148%. On the downside, we had a continuation of Starbucks. Starbucks yesterday was down 3.7% at 88. This morning, when I mentioned it, it was 86.80, down another dollar and a quarter, or 1.42. It continued lower, hitting 83.82. And the last is 84.12, down another 3.97, or another 4.5%. And Twitter, which this morning, when we first started talking about it, it was around 51 and change, up another dollar. Then there was talk that Elon Musk is in fact going to be on the board as a director. When that happened, the stock shot up while we were doing this morning's video. 53.90 up 293. It actually traded as high as 54.57 and closed at 50.98. Its first close over 50 in years. Up 101 or 2% after yesterday's 28%. There's another little one I wanted to bring this to you last night, but when I went to my charting service, it gave me no symbol. Symbol was not recognized. NUTX, that's Nutex Health. That was a merger yesterday with Clinigence, which was another over-the-counter company. The stock yesterday moved from $4 and change, or had been trading around $4 and change, to a high yesterday of 52.80 and closed at 40. Today, it closed at $26.96, down $13 and change, or roughly a third. So, NUTX, new symbol to watch. Yesterday's volume was about 600,000. Today's volume was 1.5 million. Okay, in the futures, this was really interesting. The oil closed down $1.32 after trading as high as 105.5 and as low as 99.88. So, closed pretty much near the low. What was amazing, though, with all of the rest, the heating oil, the gasoline, Brent crude, all of these down, the nat gas just exploded to the upside, again closing over $6. This high was a close at 619.80. Today's 603, but the high 620.01. So pretty amazing move in the nat gas. I'll give you a little bit better perspective here. So that high that I just pointed out at 628 and change, actually by the end of that week had closed at 542 and was down on the week. The all-time high here is 646.60. So looks like we're headed back there. Another one that I pointed out this morning that I really like is the corn. It came very close to a new breakout high close. It did close up 9 on the day, 9.25 at 759.75. This is the weekly. I was looking for a close above this high, which is 762.5. I'll show it to you on a daily because it'll make a little bit more sense. As I mentioned this morning, it worked its way into a pennant, broke to the downside, broke to the upside, came back in and just consolidated for a couple of days. Today's high was above that 762. It traded 768, but it did not close there. So I'd like to see a close above that 762.25, and I'd really like to see it on a Friday. The other chart that I pointed out this morning that I really liked was Bitcoin. And I think that Bitcoin has been consolidating here for the last week or so in this area. What's interesting here is that we came down, made a double bottom, higher low, tested, came back, made a higher low, and then broke out. In fact, it gapped to the upside a couple of weeks, a week and a half ago. What it's done since then, though, is form this little flag where we closed the gap to the upside, and that day actually closed pretty close to the high of the day. Then yesterday was kind of a wishy-washy day, and today again closed mid-range but slightly higher on the day. I think when we come out of this, I know it looks like this area in here around 51,000 should be a problem, but this could easily launch us higher. I expect another day or two of consolidation and maybe even testing of that 45,500. And then I think we'll probably be in the BITO calls. The dollar was a little bit higher. The bonds were down hard today. And tomorrow we have FOMC minutes and weekly mortgage apps. By the way, the 30-year today mortgage rate ticked above 5% for the first time in, you know, almost seems like recorded history, but it's only been a while. We also saw the most important news vis-a-vis sports fans. Looks like Tiger Woods is going to play in the Masters, going for his sixth green jacket. All right, folks, I'll be back first thing in the morning. Have a good evening and be careful out there.